On January 7, 2023, a 29-year-old FedEx worker was driving through Memphis, Tennessee. He was just 2 minutes away from the safety of his home. He would never make it there. Before he became the center of a national tragedy, Tyre Nichols was a father. He loved skateboarding, taking photos of sunsets, and spending time with his family. His drive was interrupted by officers from the Memphis Police Department's specialized street enforcement team, known as the Scorpion Unit. They boxed in his car at an intersection, later claiming he was driving recklessly. Within seconds of approaching the vehicle, officers yanked Nichols from the driver's seat. Before he could even ask what he had done, they pinned him to the pavement, screaming profanities, deploying pepper spray, and firing a taser. Terrified and struggling to breathe, Nichols broke free and ran toward his mother's house. A routine traffic stop does not typically involve simultaneous shouting, chemical spray, and high-voltage weapons in the opening seconds. The officer's immediate, overwhelming aggression forced a confused citizen into a desperate, chaotic sprint for his life. The officers caught up to Nichols less than a block from his home. For 3 agonizing minutes, they kicked him, punched him, and struck him with a police baton while he cried out for his mother. Nichols died in the hospital 3 days later from severe blunt force trauma. In the immediate aftermath, the official police report painted a completely different picture, claiming an enraged Nichols had aggressively fought the officers and resisted arrest. But a pole-mounted neighborhood surveillance camera and the officers' own body-worn cameras captured the entire sequence. When the city released the footage to the public, it revealed a brutal, unprovoked assault on a man who was already restrained. The official account of a fight stood as the department's truth for weeks, only collapsing when the footage reached the public and provided an undeniable frame-by-frame rebuttal. The sheer violence of the footage prompted the U.S. Department of Justice to launch a sweeping civil rights investigation into the entire Memphis Police Department. Investigators found that Memphis relied heavily on a strategy called saturation. The department intentionally flooded majority Black neighborhoods, conducting thousands of pretextual traffic stops. This is a tactic where officers use a minor excuse, like an expired tag or a broken taillight, to legally detain and investigate citizens. This chart illustrates the consequences of that saturation. The DOJ found that these low-level interactions frequently escalated. Officers routinely used excessive force to punish people who didn't comply fast enough, and in some instances, even fired their weapons at moving cars. The Scorpion Unit operated within the exact high-aggression, low-oversight framework the department had specifically built to facilitate this style of street enforcement. When a city prioritizes raw street enforcement and arrest quotas over community trust, it essentially authorizes a culture of unchecked aggression. Within weeks of the incident, Memphis fired the 5 officers involved, and prosecutors charged them with second-degree murder. To the public, the speed of the indictments looked like a guarantee of definitive accountability. Yet, in the state trial that followed, a jury acquitted the 3 officers who went to trial of second-degree murder, clearing them of the most serious state charges. In federal court, all 5 officers ultimately faced felony convictions, either through guilty pleas or jury verdicts. But those federal convictions centered heavily on witness tampering, obstruction, and civil rights violations, rather than the act of murder itself. A fatal, unprovoked beating was captured from multiple angles and broadcast to the entire world. And yet, securing a direct murder conviction against the law enforcement officers who delivered those blows proved nearly impossible. In response to the tragedy, the Memphis City Council passed local ordinances specifically banning the minor, pretextual traffic stops that had initiated the fatal encounter. But months later, Tennessee Governor Bill Lee signed a new state law. This legislation explicitly rendered Memphis's newly minted police reforms null and void. By overriding the local ordinances, state politicians legally restored the exact policing tools and broad traffic stop authority that the DOJ identified as the primary driver of police violence in Memphis. A grieving city analyzed its own data, saw a fatal flaw in its system, and attempted to change its laws. State lawmakers stepped in to ensure that aggressive enforcement remained the default, regardless of the cost. Seeking structural change through the civil courts, Tyre Nichols' family filed a $550 million federal lawsuit against the city of Memphis and its police department. The damages they seek aren't a random number. The $550 million figure was chosen as a deliberate reference to the assassination of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., which occurred in Memphis exactly 55 years prior. The Justice Department's massive review concluded a simple truth: flooding neighborhoods with minor traffic stops does not effectively reduce violent crime. Instead, the strategy frequently causes unnecessary violence. If a city has the data proving its tactics are broken, but state leadership forces them to keep those exact tactics in place, whose safety is the system actually protecting?